Hello, everybody.
Hey, everyone.
Is it cold in here, Tiffany?
It is.
Oh,
Sheesh.
that's why we're dressed like this?
Man,
Ooh.
prehistoric temperatures.
Made me cold just reading it.
Oh my gosh, can you even imagine after going swimming and then going into the ice age?
I know.
Oh.
They're in their swimming suits with just a
Oh
towel.
my gosh, that just made me cringe.
I know. Made me cold. Especially at that time when I was reading it, it was really cold outside.
Yes. Oh yeah, bird.
Oh, this was a great book. This is a good book because I learned a lot about the Ice Age and about different animals that don't exist anymore.
Oh yeah, pretty interesting stuff.
It really was. It really was. So our book this month was Sunset of the Sabertooth, right there. And we hope that you read it. If not, we have copies here that you can go back and read it if you didn't get the chance to read it. Yeah. So let's talk about where this book actually took place. It took place during the Ice Age. So what is the Ice Age? Well, I did a little research on that. And the Ice Age took place a long time ago. And large areas of Europe and Asia and North America where we lived were completely covered in ice. It said certain parts were a mile long, like a whole
Deep?
Yeah, deep.
Whoa.
With ice.
Oh my
that
gosh.
covered the earth.
Wow.
Yeah, and the temperatures were much, much lower than they are today.
We can't complain, I guess.
No, not at all. So were there humans at that time?
Yes.
There were.
Can you imagine that they survived?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they just like in the book, if you guys remember Jack talking about how they hunted, and that's how they ate. To survive, they had to hunt and use the animals for clothes, food, tools, everything. Yeah.
And we were talking about it before, and they used everything on it: the skins and the bones and the everything on it.
It's pretty amazing.
It is. Yes. So they would. These great hunters would follow the trail of mammoths. So mammoth means something. It means very, very large. And that's what most of these animals were during that time. They were really, really big. And you'll see some of them later.
Yes, that's what we've learned. Lots of oversized animals.
And this period of time is actually called the Age of the Giants. Not giant people, but giant animals.
That makes sense.
It does. And they would camp, these hunters would camp where people before them had camped. And a lot of times they camped in caves, so they went in there. But they would have to be careful because who else might be in the cave?
Do you guys remember those cave bears? That was a scary part, right?
That was such a scary part. It was.
Yes.
But the really neat thing about it was they would leave their mark on the cave walls. They're called petroglyphs. And that means, let me just read this. It's called, they're called petroglyphs. They're carvings or engravings, and they use the sharp stone or other sharp objects to chip the surface of the rock wall. And so they would leave their kind of like their history, their travel history, or maybe their family, or maybe the animals that they encountered. And we have those today. And a lot of them are inside caves, so they're very well preserved and taken care of. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, some of you guys probably keep journals, or your mom wants you to keep a journal. Think about all the effort that these people went through just to be able to leave their history. And it's pretty awesome.
It is. So they didn't have guns at that time, but some of the weapons that they would use would be slings or boomerangs. I thought that was interesting. Spears and bows and arrows to hunt with. Yeah, so they were called mighty hunters. And they had to hunt to survive.
Yeah, so I'm sure they got really good.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the adventures that Jack and Annie had. What do you think, Tiffany? What are some of the adventures they had?
We kind of talked about the bear in the cave and how they found all those bones. That was kind of a creepy spot there. One of my favorite, it wasn't really a part, I guess, but I really enjoyed when they went into the other cave and they found the clothes so that they could stay warm, and learning about how the people used deer skin and really scraped it and softened it up, and how they used bones for needles, and I thought that was pretty amazing. And I enjoyed how the kids they just borrowed the clothes. They left their towel as a gift and the goggles, and they just really needed them so that they could survive and not freeze.
Mm-hmm. And then at the end, what did they do with them?
Yeah, and then they dropped them and
left them there, didn't
yep,
they?
and the people spotted them, so hopefully they got their clothes back.
Yeah, because they were all handmade, weren't they? The
Yeah.
clothes that we have today a lot of times come from stores,
Mm-hmm.
but they would have to make them by hand without
Yes.
even a sewing machine.
Yes, so
and
that
we
would
both
have
sew, so
been-
we understand
oh,
that.
yeah.
That would have been hard.
That would have been quite a loss if they
Mhm.
didn't have those
Yes.
jackets at
Yes,
least.
it sure would have been.
So what was your favorite part, Rosie?
You know, my favorite part was when they went into the cave
Mm-hmm.
and saw the petroglyphs. I'm just amazed with those.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was learning about them, it said that they would use a sharp rock or some sort of tool to carve them, and they would carve through the surface of the rock, and then underneath it would be lighter colored, so that would show through.
Mm-hmm.
But imagine, I just can't believe it. I
Yeah.
can't believe they did that.
Yeah, that would be really fun to actually see that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think that was my favorite part.
Mm-hmm.
How about yours? Do you have a favorite part?
Yeah, probably with the clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the scarier things that I thought, I did mention the bear. That was the first scary thing for me. And the saber-tooth tiger, that was when they first saw the saber-tooth tiger up above, and then they looked back again and it was gone. That would have been a really scary feeling.
That would have been, because you don't know if they could turn a corner and it would be there.
Yes.
'Cause
Yeah.
they're very quiet.
Oh,
And
yeah.
quick, very fast.
They're good.
They are. They're
Yeah.
fierce.
Yeah.
Very fierce.
Yeah. Were there any other parts you thought were kind of scary?
I
That you
thought-
think you would have been
yes.
scared for
Yes,
sure.
when Jack and Annie fell into the pit and then they heard something and looked up and saw the sorcerer.
Yes.
That would have been so
Yes.
scary. They didn't know who
Just
it was.
peeking down, yes.
And they couldn't really communicate with him.
Yeah.
And we communicate by talking or
Mhm.
gesturing, but they had no way to communicate with him.
Yes.
But he turned out to be a good guy.
Yes, they always have that twinkle in their eye, it seems like, don't they?
Mhm. Yes.
They smile
Yes.
behind the mask.
Yes.
So that was fun.
Yes. And I like too how they made friends with the woolly mammoth.
Yes. Oh,
And
yes,
rode on him.
that was so cool.
Mhm. Or her.
How
was
he or she helped
Mm-hmm.
Lulu. That's
Lulu,
right.
so
Is that what
girl.
Annie called her? So we'll
Mhm.
say she was a girl.
Yes.
But
So this was full of good things,
Mhm.
full of good things to learn. I learned a lot from
Mhm.
this. Yeah. Is it getting warm in here?
yes.
So we're not cold anymore. We're nice and
No.
warm. We're going to take a little break, and when we come back, we're going to not have all of these outer clothing
Yes.
on. We're back.
Okay, that's better.
Yes, that's better. We can breathe a little bit better now. So let's talk a little bit about Ice Age animals. Now, many of the Ice Age animals are extinct today. What that means is when there aren't any more of the individuals of that type of animal or plant alive anywhere in the world, means there aren't any more. They're gone. They're gone. They can't come back. Some of the animals we know today look very similar to Ice Age animals, such as wild horses or bison or cave hyenas, it
Wow.
said, and cave lions. So they kind of look. Now remember though, everything was really big back then. Really, really big. Some Ice Age animals were edible, meaning that they could be eaten, and some were not. Some were not. Like today, it's interesting because I was thinking, well, how could I explain that a little bit better? So like a deer, you could eat a deer, but would you eat a skunk? No, I wouldn't eat a skunk. No.
Yeah.
So it's kind
Yeah.
of like that. Some were edible, you could eat, and some
Yeah.
could not.
Some
Yeah.
had those like really hard outer shells
That you
that
probably
you
couldn't
couldn't get through. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you wish Ice Age animals would come back?
No, I don't think I do. Maybe a mammoth would be cool.
Oh, woolly mammoth would be cool.
I think maybe that's all.
Yeah. Me too. I don't know how would we house them. What would we
I
do
know.
with them?
Yeah. They just seem like a gentle giant
Mm-hmm.
type of an animal, but I might be wrong too.
Kind of like an elephant.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
a hairy elephant.
Yes.
Well, let's show some pictures, should we?
Okay.
You want to start?
Great. Okay, so if you guys noticed in the back of the book, it talks a little bit about the ice dire, do you think, wolf? And this is a picture of what it would look like. It says, here's another one that's kind of scary.
Look how big
little
that is,
boy's
though.
face. Is that crazy? It says they were about 5 feet long and weighed about 110 pounds. And they hunted in packs. That sounds like wolves now.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does. So I've got 2 pictures here. These are Ice Age marsupials. So a marsupial is a mammal that is born incompletely developed. So they're not developed all the way. And they're normally carried in a pouch by their mother, which sounds like a... What do you think? A kangaroo. That's right. Sounds like a kangaroo. Yes. So, but these are giant marsupials. And this is a Diprotodon. It's a giant marsupial. And it says that, look right here, this is actually a big tooth that never stopped growing all through its life. So it probably got really, really big like this.
Kind of bothered them at the end of their life, I bet.
I bet it did. I bet it did.
This one, we're not really sure what the name is, but it does look like an anteater. It kind of looks like just a friendly kind of animal, I think.
Yeah. Okay, how about this one? This one is called a Makachania. But look at its head. I thought this was so interesting. Look at its little tiny head and its big body. Has small ears, a long thin neck, and the legs are long and thin with thick 3-toed feet and a long tail. So can you see its feet here? It has 3 toes.
Wow.
How interesting that guy is.
Kind of looks like elephant feet somewhat.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
I'm sure you guys can recognize this. That is not an animal you want to come face to face with, is it? That's the Sabertooth tiger. There's another kind of scary image of a saber-toothed tiger. It says they're the fiercest beast of the Ice Age, which I can believe. They attacked humans as well as woolly mammoths and other large animals. And they have these 2, what sets them apart from just regular tigers. And you always know a saber-toothed tiger from those super long teeth, about 1 foot in length.
Wow, that's like this
Yes.
long.
And super sharp, right? It says they could open their mouths very wide and they were very fast and fierce, which I believe.
Me too. I think this might be one of my favorites right here, the woolly mammoth. We were just talking about it. It's the most famous of the Ice Age mammals. And their thick hair, can you see their thick hair? It protected them from the cold. And notice right here, there's a hump right there. And the hump on the shoulders contained a food supply that would help them live through the cold, cold winter. So instead of finding things to eat, like grass and leaves and things like that, they could rely on that hump right there to feed them.
Wow.
Sustain their life through the winter time.
That's really cool.
It is.
So here's a giant bear. We talked about bears in the Ice Age. They lived and hibernated in caves. That's where we heard the bear snoring, right? And they're very, very big and fierce, and you don't want to mess with one of these guys. They're super tall. If you remember in the book, it says they grow to be over 8 feet, which, Rosie, I bet that would be you and then one of these youth stacked on top of each other.
So,
What do you think?
I think so, because I'm about 5 feet tall.
Yeah.
And then another yard, another 3 feet.
Yes.
Wow.
Pretty crazy.
That's big.
Scary.
That's so big. So big. Look at this guy. I think that one's pretty cool. It's a Coelodonta. And the males and the females both had horns. And a lot of times the males are the only ones with horns, but the males and the females have horns on this guy. They use their horns in a great way. They used them as a snowplow to move the snow to get to the grass underneath. And they had a nickname, a Siberian unicorn.
So there really were unicorns.
There maybe.
That's pretty cool.
Doesn't look like a unicorn I visualize.
No.
That are all pink
No
and
glitter.
flowery.
This is another interesting one. The Brontotherium, if I'm saying that right. If you can tell would you say horn? It kind of splits, and it looks like a rhinoceros, and called thunder beasts because how they fight. I guess it was really loud when they battled and hit their horns together.
I bet. Okay, this one right here. Oh, it's so neat. Now, I want you to notice something on this. Notice these are regular sized people standing there with a model of what they thought this beast looked like. And it's called a Indricotherium.
These are interesting names.
They are. They're kind of hard to pronounce. It's a relative of the rhinoceros, and guess what? It was the biggest land animal ever to have lived, and it didn't have any enemies that we know of. I don't think I'd come across this guy myself, because that's probably like that armor you were talking about. It's probably really, really thick and heavy, and nobody messed with this guy.
No, there was no point to doing that.
No.
So these are the Yukon Camels. So there were camels back then, and they look pretty similar to what we have now. I wonder, they might have been even bigger. Who knows? But in 1928, a camel skull was found near Fillmore, Utah. So that's really only a few hours from here. And yeah, that's pretty interesting that something like this would be even found in Utah.
Yeah, it really is. This guy right here, a Dodicurius. It looks like an armadillo, which we don't have here. A lot of armadillos are in Texas, but it was the size of a car. Armadillos are not the size of a car. And it has this solid armor right here made of small pieces of bone that's joined together. But look at the tail. Said that it would swing this tail from the hip, and so it would swing and swing and swing. I bet a lot of other animals and mammals were afraid of this guy.
I bet he didn't have any enemies either.
Probably not. Probably not.
This is another one of the animals, and it kind of looks like a beaver. I wonder how big this guy would have been.
I don't know. He
Super
looks
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. And notice they have hair and fur to survive.
Yes.
Oh, I love this guy. He's a Megatherium. He's also known as a giant ground sloth. So we know sloths today. We don't have any sloths here, but I'm sure you've seen them in zoos or in pictures or in movies too. This giant ground sloth was slow like the sloths are today, but it was 10 times bigger than today's sloths.
Wow.
That's
10
big.
times?
10 times.
Wow.
Up to 20 feet long, and its tongue, get this, its tongue was more than 3 feet long.
Wow.
So it could wrap around tree,
Oh my gosh.
like leaves, and pull them down and eat them.
Wow.
And often they walked on their 2 hind legs.
Interesting. So they would walk on 2 feet?
Sometimes, yeah, they would walk on their back 2 legs.
Wow. That would be interesting to see. Okay, so this is my last one. It's a Megaloceros, I think. It said each antler would have been 5 feet wide, right, from their head. Can you imagine? They called it the Great Irish Elk. So they must have had a really strong skull to carry that. That's amazing.
Yes. Wow. All right, well, that was fun.
Yeah.
Like I said, that's
So many
a lot of
interesting animals.
Yeah. So, should we kind of talk about what's in their bags
Yeah,
today?
let's do.
We've got some little bags here for you that are going to be pretty fun.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun.
Ooh, this will be great. We've got some crafts.
Yeah, we
Got
have
some information.
You have your information sheet with games. There's a joke, some fun stuff on there, and then.
So should we show them how to make the crafts?
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do that. Sounds good. Okay, boys and girls, you're going to get a piece of paper like this, and it's a picture of a woolly mammoth. Now, what are you going to do with this? Well, first of all, you can color it if you would like, and then it's going to end up looking like this. Look at that woolly mammoth. So you notice that I colored the tusks here. I even painted its toenails because my woolly mammoth is a girl. And I colored some underneath, but you really don't have to do a lot of coloring on it. And we're going to give you a bag of yarn that looks like this. So there's all different kinds of yarn. So just a little bit of glue on here, and you just push the yarn down on there. Now, how do you make it fuzzy like this? Well, here's what I did. After it dried, I just separated the pieces of yarn. So you just kind of untwist them to make it look more woolly. And pull the strands of the yarn apart like this so that it just looks a little bit more like a woolly mammoth. See how that is? It's as easy as that, and it's so fun. So there's your woolly mammoth.
Okay, so here we met the sorcerer in the book. If you guys remember, here is an image of the sorcerer, and they called him the master of the animals. And they said that he was the leader of the cavemen, and what he would do is he wore a mask that had an owl face, so this is our owl face, and then also reindeer antlers. So we gave you some reindeer antlers. We already glued the beak on for you, so you'll just need to glue the antlers, and we want to make this look more like an owl, right? So we have this that you can glue on. And then we want you to just have fun with it. We threw in some sequins if you want to add sequins. If you have buttons at home, feathers, anything that you want to do to add to your mask, you can do. Just be creative with it. You could use markers on it. And then we have this little piece in the bag of this elastic and some holes for you guys to tie it. And so you guys can become sorcerers yourself.
All right, boys and girls, what we're going to do next is make a painting in a cave. So remember, what's that called? A petroglyph. So what we've given you, so here's one that I did before. I'm going to just move that off to the side, and you get a piece of paper like this, just a plain piece of paper. Now you notice mine was a little crinkled up, but I would suggest you do your cave painting first, and then you crinkle it up if you want to make it look like it's older and something that has been around for a while. Also though, instead of having you come up with your own ideas, which you can, we're giving you a paper like this that shows some ideas for cave painting. You see that? So you might want to draw an arrow. And you know what I would suggest? I would suggest doing this with a pencil first, because you can erase a pencil. And that is always, always a good option. So maybe an arrow, maybe, one of my favorite things is a sun. And you know what, maybe a moon. So, and then I could just go on and on because it's so much fun to do this and use your creativity. You could draw some stick figures, you could do some animals, you could do really whatever you want to do. But remember, I suggest using a pencil first, then you could go back and then use a marker, or you could use colored pencils, crayons, maybe even paint. Whatever you have at your house that is okay for you to use. So, ooh, look at this. This is a pretty, like a gold color. Let's see what that looks like. Ooh, that's pretty. I like that. And that makes it stand out a little bit more. And then maybe the arrow. Let's do that in a pretty blue. There's an arrow. And then if you want to, like I said, you can crinkle it up like this one right here. See the difference between these two? And all I did after I got this one all done, I just crinkled the paper like this several times. And then I would open it back up and crinkle it again a few other times to make it look like it's weathered and it's been around for a while. So I hope you have fun with this. I did. I had a really fun time with this. Hey! Hello!
Hi!
Look at us!
Two sorcerers in one room.
Two sources.
It's amazing.
Wow. I'm not sure that's ever happened before.
I don't think it has.
See,
We're making history today.
We are. We just wanted to show you some of the things you could do with your masks.
Yes.
Yes.
They really are so fun, and nobody will know who you are.
They won't.
It's kind of mysterious.
It is mysterious. Kind of like Halloween in March.
Yes. You can educate people on what a sorcerer is.
That's right. And that's what we want you to do. We want you to tell your family, maybe tell your family a little bit about the story and your favorite part, or maybe the scariest part for you. Whatever you want to tell your family about these books.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Especially if you have younger brothers and sisters. It would encourage them
they
to
would
want
love
to read.
it. Oh, yeah. That's awesome. So we showed you the crafts and fun things that we have, the supplies in your bag. And then we also have a treat. You guys are gonna get some animal cookies. You can pretend like they're prehistoric. And then this cool peacock feather you guys are going to get. And a button.
I
So
love
guys,
the button this month that you made.
if I can find it.
I've got mine right here if you need it. I like to wear mine. I like to wear buttons.
Yeah, it's nice and colorful. So I don't know if you guys will be able to see it, but you'll get it in your bag. It's a saber-toothed tiger. So it's a really fun one.
It's not too scary, so you
No.
can still wear it.
It's a fun cartoony version.
It is. It is. Oh, that bag is great.
Yes.
Alrighty, so let's talk just a little bit about a paleontologist. What's a paleontologist? That is a scientist who specializes in the study of life forms that existed or lived years and years ago. So some of you in the future might want to be a paleontologist. That would be really great. That's a big word. Another thing I wanted to tell you about a place in California, which is on the West Coast. It's in Southern California, in Los Angeles. Have you been to Los Angeles before?
No, I never
you
have.
haven't? I have, but I've never been here before. It's called the Brea Tar Pits, and it's in the United States. It's pretty great. It's a big pit where a lot of Ice Age animals have been discovered.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So what happened years ago, these animals fell into the pit and they couldn't get out. And so they were kind of buried there. And the paleontologists have found skeletons of animals like woolly mammoths and the dire wolf, saber-toothed cats, and many, many more. And the La Brea Tar Pits is a World Heritage Site. I didn't even know what that was. I had to look that up. And it's a legally protected area. And around the world, there are 1,120 different World Heritage Sites.
Wow, that's
So
a lot.
it is. It's neat, and it's a protected area. So maybe that's something your family might want to look up, because I was pretty interested in that. I was amazed with that.
That's really cool.
That is. Well, what's the book for next month? I
I
think
forget
I
the
know what
moon.
it is.
The moon, you guys.
Astronauts in the afternoon.
Midnight on the moon.
Midnight on the moon.
Midnight.
Midnight on the moon. Ooh, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
I'm gonna like that.
I'm excited.
Me too. Do you want to tell a little bit about some of these books
Sure,
that we've got here in the
yeah,
library?
we have some really fun stuff. So this one, you wouldn't want to be a mammoth hunter. That looks really cute. That's a fun, and it's a nonfiction book. So
All
learning
of these
about, wow, it's pretty awesome, isn't it?
Oh, the artwork in there is great.
Yeah. That's really cool. He might be kind of a sorcerer. He has antlers.
I think so. When I looked through it, I
Yeah,
thought
that's
that
pretty
too.
cool.
Mhm. This is about saber-tooths are the big cats, and we know that. But it also talks about some of the other animals we talked about today, and maybe some of the others as well. So this is really great. We will have these on display in the front of the library. So if you want to check one out, you're welcome to do that.
This one is Huge Hunters Roam the Earth. So that looks like it will have, that looks like the dire wolf somewhat.
Mhm.
I guess if you check this out, you'll find out what fun predators there were in the Ice Age.
Yes, yes. This one's neat. This is on early people. Look at that. So this is on the early hunters that we talked about, and how they existed and how they were able to hunt, and some of the animals. Oh, look here on the back, a boomerang, like we talked about. How about that?
That's amazing that boomerangs have been around that long.
Yes.
This is a fun one. I always love fossils. So that's just a really cool book on fossils.
Here's another one called Ice Age Giants. So remember, the animals back then were big. So this is a book about those big. It says, keep warm with woolly mammoths, shelter from the cold with cave creatures, and meet the first humans. This sounds like a great book.
Yeah. And on the theme of giant, this one is maxed out gigantic creatures from the past. So that's a really interesting, it looks like that saber-tooth tiger's kind of smiling a little bit. And if you just want to relax and pop up some popcorn, we have there's 4 different Ice Age movies, and they all have lots of the prehistoric animals in them, fun characters.
They are. I love these movies.
Yes, they're so cute.
Fun. Even as a grown-up, I like them.
Yes.
I do. Well, that's all we have for you today.
Yeah.
This has been fun.
Yes, this was a fun one.
It was. Thanks for tuning in to us, and we hope to see you next month. And we'll learn all about astronauts and all about the moon.
Yes.
The moon landing.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Have fun with your packets, and we'd love to see your masks.
Yes.
If you want to share, that would be really
That's a
fun.
great idea. Wear them into the library.
Yes,
'cause
that
we're
would be
open.
awesome.
Tell your moms we're open all the time now. So from 10 o'clock to 7 o'clock, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then on Saturdays, we're open from 10 to 3. So we're opening up and hope to see you all very, very soon.
See you guys.
Bye.